After a decade-plus journey from the stage to the big screen, The Last Showgirl is finally shimmying into theaters everywhere this weekend. Starring Pamela Anderson in a role she was born to play, the poignant drama follows Shelley, her titular Vegas showgirl, as she grapples with the closing of her long-running gig, the last act of its kind on the Strip. As her life's work comes to an unceremonious end, she strives to repair her relationship with her estranged daughter, Hannah Billy Lord, whom she neglected to raise in favor of prioritizing her career. Instead, Shelley's fellow dancers became her family, particularly Jamie Lee Curtis' gambling-addicted cocktail waitress, Annette, Brenda Song's practical, world-weary Marianne, and Kiernan Shipka's naive, runaway teen, Jody, who looks to Shelley as a mother figure. If the ragtag group has a patriarch, it's Eddie, Dave Bautista, their clueless longtime stage manager, who, unbeknownst to everyone but Shelley, is also Hannah's biological dad. Initially written for the stage by Kate Gersten, who spent time behind the scenes with Vegas Showgirls, including members of the now-defunct Jubilee. As research, The Last Showgirl was never fully developed for the theater. But when her husband, fellow writer Matthew Shire, showed the script to his cousin, noted Vegas lover and filmmaker Gia Coppola, the director was immediately drawn to the story and worked with Gertzen to create a version for the screen that retained the intimacy of the would-be play. The result is one of the year's best films, featuring a career-redefining performance from Anderson that earned her Best Actress nods at the Golden Globes and SAGs, among other nominations for the film. Below, Gersten opens up about her reaction to Anderson's casting, the meaning behind the purposefully ambiguous ending, Curtis' memorable dance number, and more. First, have you heard from any former showgirls about the movie? Kate Gersten, a couple of weeks ago, there was a woman who was in Jubilee, in the 90s at its heyday, who came to see the movie, and I got to meet her. She was really lovely and felt like it was a very truthful story, and that was so validating to me. I really loved meeting her. What do you remember most from your time researching? I remember the backstage area so well, and the sort of choreography of how they moved and changed their costumes, and how that process is so precise and so choreographed even though it's off-stage choreography. That dance in and of itself is really glorious to me. What was your reaction when you learned that Pamela would be playing Shelley? I thought it was the most incredible stroke of genius I'd ever heard of. When her documentary came out, my husband, Matt Shire, saw it. He's Gia's cousin, and he told Gia, "You've got to see this. This is your Shelley." Gia saw it. She was like, "Kate, you've got to see this." And I was like, wow, there's so many similarities. But most of all, it is her ability to go through all this adversity and still be soft. That was what showed me immediately that Pamela was the right person to play this role. She still had that vulnerability and openness and wonder about the world. That was the thing that I really saw in her. Nobody else that I've ever seen play the role during the 10 years it was being workshopped has had that. Speaking of the play, what were some of the biggest changes from the stage to the movie? Well, the play was 125 pages, and the movie is 70 pages, so a lot of it did fall away. We were really focused on Shelley's story as opposed to the arcs of every other character, but it is still just those 5 characters in the play and the movie. In my first attempt at writing the screenplay, I made it a much broader story. I had other characters, I had other locations, and Gia said, "I really love the play. I really wish it was as contained as the play so that we can make this in the time constraint and the financial constraints we're dealing with. And in order to maintain all of our artistic autonomy, let's just keep it closer to the play." And I really appreciated that. I thought that was great. I was like, you don't have to ask a playwright twice to make it more like a play. After Shelley gets into an argument with her biological daughter, Hannah, she refuses to support her stage daughter, Jody, in her time of need. Why does Shelley turn her away? She has gotten so swept up in her life with her show family that she is finally realizing that she didn't do as right by her daughter as, in that moment, she wishes she had done. She's coming off the fight with Hannah backstage when she turns Jody away at the door, and I think what's going through her head is, I want to make things right with my daughter. I can't believe that I did this, but I also need to figure out what my next move is and what my next job is. So she's rehearsing for her audition when Jody comes to the door, and one of the reasons why she turns her away is she's like, I've just got to focus on getting my next job and doing the next thing that's right for me. Also, I think it's this combination of complicated feelings where she's also thinking, I want to focus on the things that are important to me, which are my actual daughter and my passion. And I can't just be swept up with everyone who needs me, because everybody needs a part of me. Jody needs a part of me, Marion needs a part of me, Annette needs a part of me, and I can't just be there for everyone the way I've always been. I need to protect myself. I think she's a great contradiction of somebody who is there for people and is also selfish. And I think we all know people like that. I think that's a classic narcissistic tendency, though I wouldn't call Shelley a narcissist. I don't love categorizing her like that and diagnosing her, but I do think that there is something about her that resonates with that idea. One of the most memorable moments in the film is Jamie Lee Curtis' dance to Total Eclipse of the Heart on the casino floor. How was that scene described in the script? That was one of the only things that was not in the script. Jamie saw one of the cocktail waitresses in the casino that we were shooting in, and she was talking to her, and we found out that cocktail waitresses who sing and dance get paid on a different scale. They have to perform 3 times in a shift. And so that's what Jamie saw. She really reached out to this one gal and talked to her all about her experience. And then Gia said, I got to get you up on one of those podiums to dance. And Jamie said, well, if I go up there, it's got to be to Total Eclipse of the Heart. And we did one take, and Jamie just improvised all of that dancing for the whole song one time. And it is all in the movie. Lastly, do you think we'll ever see the return of the Vegas Showgirl? I don't know. I think Vegas is getting more and more digital by the minute, like with the Sphere. I don't know if it's coming back. It's so expensive, and it's all practical. It's dozens of performers and dozens of crew members and physical sets and expensive feathers. So I think it might be a relic of days gone by. But I'm going to Paris in April for my birthday, and I'm going to have a little Shelley tour. I'm going to go to Paris for Shelley. I think there are still some shows there, and I'm going to go see them.